I'm Yvonne Dupont. I just, always my whole young life wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
Was in nurses training when I was 29 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I had 6 children then.
Oh, wow.
And 3 of my sons were disabled, but there was no diagnosis for what they had,
Okay.
except that the oldest one of those 3 was diagnosed as mild cerebral palsy when he was just 2 years old.
Oh, wow. So at a very young age.
Right, and I was told not to worry about that. It was a birth accident and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I had 2 more children. I had my daughter, and then I had 2 more boys,
Mm-hmm.
um, and both of those boys were disabled also.
Okay.
So then the neurologists didn't know what they had.
Mm-hmm.
They suspected that the neurologist we were seeing at the time suspected this disease, but had never seen it because it was not in the United States at that time.
Okay.
So we had to take them to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to the
Mm-hmm.
medical college there, and Dr. Ken Swayman was
Mm-hmm.
the nearest neurological pediatric
Okay.
neurological
Yeah.
doctor that was closest one. He was closest one
Mm-hmm.
and had ever seen this disease, which had only at that time been in Germany and England.
Oh, wow.
And my heritage is from England,
Okay.
but we've gone back. My mother, when she was alive, could
Mm-hmm.
go back 5 generations. There was nobody in our family that ever had anything like this. But anyway, we went to Minneapolis, Minnesota with them. They were diagnosed with this terminal brain disease. That was half of my family,
Oh.
3 of my 6 children. And not the trip there knocked me out of my nursing program, but I was at the end of my year of LPN,
Yeah.
but I was able to be a nurse all my life. So
Wow.
anyway, that's one perk. Not too many perks in this. I was kind of devastated. I went through about 8 years of total anxiety,
I can imagine.
worrying about them dying, because at that time we were told that they would only live to be 18 to 20 years old,
Oh, wow.
and that they would then be living in a vegetative state, be totally paralyzed,
Yeah.
blind a year before their death.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they knew about this disease in the other countries.
Right.
So my husband and I came home with them and went on with our life. We had people that had told us that we should just, only one specific person, but told us we should just put the boys in a home and get on with our life. Well, my baby then was 17 months old.
Yeah.
And the next one was 3, and then Tommy,
Absolutely.
the one that was diagnosed with a brain biopsy, was 6 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And there was no way I was putting my kids in a home anyplace. They were my kids.
Exactly. They're your kids.
That's right.
Yes, they have a disability, but they're still your children.
And at that time of their life, in their young life, they all graduated from high school. They went to Rogers High School. They all graduated from Rogers High School. If you ask me the years now, I can't give you that because it's like calendars are home. But anyway, they ran the computers in the school. They ate everything anybody else eats.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest one, Tommy, he could walk.
Okay.
But during the course of their lives, we found out that Walter and David could not walk because they never had hip sockets developed.
Oh, okay.
So their femur bones were just kind of floating out there.
Right.
So they always were, with a walker.
Mm-hmm.
Wally could walk with a walker. David never could. And then eventually they were just in wheelchairs from little kids on up for their whole life. But they talked, they joked, they watched. They were always happy.
Mm-hmm.
God knows why. I don't, because they were always happy.
Yeah.
And it was our life. It's what we did.
Yeah.
I learned years later that my older kids, my older sons, 2 sons, and my daughter, not so much her, but the boys would get into fights with kids because other kids would tease them about having retarded brothers because the yellow bus would pick them up for school. And the yellow bus at that time was associated with retardation. And but they never told me that when they were young. They never told me that they were battling for their brothers, you know.
They probably didn't want you to worry, and that's something. I mean, I told you about my aunt. That's something you hear a lot is people using the R word, the retard, to describe them, but they're still human. They still have feelings. It's the same. They have the same rights as you and I do. There was a quote I heard not too long ago that the only disability in the world is the inability to see past the disability.
Exactly.
And that hit hard because that is very common.
Right.
Very common.
My granddaughter who lives with us once, she's graduating this year from high school, and she was going on to Ohio, out to Ohio. I can't think of the name of the college. Anyway, it's in Delaware.
Okay.
Deshland, I think. But anyway, Ohio Westland.
Oh, okay.
And she's going to go there, and she wants to study. I can't think of the word now. Psychology that deals with the not just regular psychology, neurological psychology. She wants because she has been a little bit upset the last half of her almost 18 years now because she says people are always looking at us. Any place we go, well, I'm down to one boy, 2 of them have passed, but I've got one. But she said, even with the 3 of them, she said, any place we went, people were always staring at us, always looking at us. And I said, first of all, Olivia, I said, you gotta know that it's uncommon to see one family pushing 3 wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So that was a shock to people. They're like, and the other thing was that people thought, and we were asked this many times in the church when we went to by different people, and then we switched parishes years later, and we were asked it again. But people would ask us what group home we were helping by bringing the boys to church.
Oh, so they...
And I would say, no group home, these are our kids.
Right,
It's like,
yeah.